On the 16th of November, 2024, Soggy Cereal released his Truth About MrBeast and Dogpack video, though under a different original name. To the undiscerning eye, Soggy's investigation for his Truth video went something like this. An employee apparently saw the Dogpack debunk section of his now private slop content vid and decided to reach out, looking to clear things up. This employee gave Soggy important evidence and insider info like a behind-the-scenes clip to help him make his video. But Soggy is an investigator, so that's not enough. He had to be more thorough. He had to go dig up the truth by interviewing more employees.
Since Dogpack 404 declined every interview offer, the only other place I could dig up the truth is in the belly of the beast.
Oh man, North Carolina?
As I'm sure you know, it has since come out that his flights and accommodation were paid for by Dustin, the producer who reached out to him. Thankfully though, on Friday the 22nd, Soggy added a disclosure of this fact to his video so that audiences will have all the info they need to judge for themselves how much this matters to them. Transparency. You gotta love it. He even took extra effort to explain why he accepted Dustin's offer to pay for his travel. He stated a few things. He wanted, quote, raw interviews where employees couldn't secretly be using a script. His friends and family told him this was the only way to ensure the interviews would be done with integrity. And finally, he claimed he could have just made this vid with online interviews instead, and it'd be the same video, except he'd have less certainty about the interviews being transparent. Sounds like his heart's in the right place, even if that doesn't make any sense. But here, dear viewer, is where we run into the brick wall of the problem I first noticed when watching Soggy's video. Far from being transparent, there is an extremely important fact that he has withheld from his audience and not included in his disclosure. Soggy Cereal has been in contact with at least some of the very same employees he interviewed in real life since at least before October 12th, when he released his slop content video. And they had already shared with him many of the claims he recorded from them during his real-life interview. It's a redo with names attached, not an investigation. Some, given how it's been presented, as flying out to dig up the truth so they can't trick him with a script, would even call it fake. And I'd have to agree with that characterization. I'd even call them scripted, because far from being the raw interviews Soggy promised us they were, even 6 days after the video was already out in his statement, there were very clear tells in the video itself that something was wrong. So I approached Soggy about this. I asked Soggy point blank if some of those claims from the slop video came from Hoodie and Emily, his manager and co-worker. Simple enough to work out, and I guess I was right because Soggy confirmed my deduction was correct. These live interviews are from the very same people he got claims from for his slop content video. Soggy explained that he didn't know it was them at the time of his slop content video, despite it being easily deduced because they, as an apparently organized group, used a single representative to pass claims to Soggy. In this matter, Emily, Dogpack's co-worker who it has been specifically confirmed he received information from prior to his October 12th video, is of particular interest to me. Claims she can be seen repeating from the slop content video that we now know she contributed to include, and I'm overlaying the claims shared in that slop video, that Dogpack made a co-worker uncomfortable.
He gave weird vibes, for sure,
Yeah.
and I felt like very uncomfortable working in the office with him.
That Dogpack was disrespectful to his manager.
Like, he had no respect for Hoodie. He didn't take any of Hoodie's advice. It seemed like he didn't think he knew what Hoodie was doing.
Even the huge chunk about Dogpack's Apple Vision Pro obsession may have come in part from her. And at the very least we know she's aware of what has already been said to Soggy Cereal. As even if this claim doesn't originate directly from her, she was part of the group whose claims were being forwarded by a representative, all the way back before October 12th. I want to make absolutely sure you understand that this woman is repeating things she knows have already been said to Soggy and have been published in a previous video. While all the while, this is continuously portrayed as an investigative interview, digging up the truth, uncovering new facts, confirming claims with raw, fully transparent to the audience interviews.
Most of the time he was there was consumed in trying to get an Apple Vision Pro.
Which brings me to the most concerning part of this interview. This interview that is supposedly conducted with integrity and transparency, that Soggy accepted flight and accommodation for purely to make sure they couldn't pull any shenanigans on him. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe, enormous shenanigans have occurred. In messages with me, Soggy admitted that Dogpack's response to his slop content vid was a major motivation in how he put together this Truth About Dogpack video, confirming to me that, yeah, the reason he went so hard on Dogpack was because of how the slop video went down and how he attacked Soggy after he made it. Hey, people who know all the lore, what's one way Dogpack attacked Soggy Cereal? Dogpack tried to discredit the slop content video on the basis that the sources were anonymous. He tweeted, "Soggy Cereal tried to cook me for pushing false allegations, which I've addressed." Then he pushes this anonymous screenshot, presumably from a current MrBeast employee, as fact. We can tell that this ticked Soggy off, really stung him, even if he hadn't told me directly, just from the things he said in his video, emphasizing that names were being put to statements now.
Luckily, the real story is much more boring. See, according to a non-anonymous MrBeast employee,
and even expressing righteous indignation that Dogpack had doubted the claims made in his slop content video.
in this video where they do all this, a Dogpack dares to try and invalidate my past accusations.
Undeniable, I'd say, that Dogpack's attempt to discredit those claims he forwarded riled him up. And there's a specific claim, actually, that Dogpack called out after the slop vid dropped in October that caught my eye. I, quote, literally told the prep meal chef his food was shit. This is a blatant lie. Did you think to maybe reach out to Andy, the prep meal chef, to ask him about this? Is there any evidence to any of these claims? Ooh, that must have stung. And he received a direct challenge from his rival. Reach out to Andy and check. Ooh, Soggy hates Dogpack so much, he wants to own him on these points. But in his rage, Soggy only owned himself. You see, he got confirmation of this story, sure, but because of all I've shown you so far, I strongly suspect that this part of the staff interview was literally planned out, either by Emily or by Emily and Soggy together. In other words, Soggy is either too dumb to understand what was happening right in front of his face, or he was involved in faking an interview and passing it off as investigative work. It's unbelievably hilarious to watch, in my opinion. Let me walk you through it.
Any weird stories circulating or whatever of something Dawson did at the company or...
I heard that he told the chef that his food was trash.
Yeah, everyone's heard that. Even I heard that. The claim was in Soggy's video. The one this lady herself, we now know, was contributing claims to as part of a group.
I heard that story too, yeah.
Yeah, probably from her. What are we doing here, Soggy? What the hell is this? I think even she was surprised. She was gonna elaborate, apparently saying, yeah, which...
And then he like...
But Soggy cuts her off to talk about Dogpack challenging the claim in the past, which we know ticked him off.
And then he like denied it in a video afterwards.
Yeah, says Emily. She seems to know at this point that all that happened. Soggy says he talked about it, and Emily again indicates that she's aware.
And I talked about that, but...
Emily, who hates Dogpack and has all the info we've just established on top of being a likely original source of this claim in Soggy's slop content video, then takes up Dogpack's challenge to call Andy, whose name hundreds of thousands of people have already seen in Dogpack's tweet and in the failed censor in Soggy's original upload. This guy ain't anonymous, I'm not going to play along. And I believe there is value in confirming it is absolutely the same guy they're all talking about.
I'm not sure how much truth there is to that, but I mean, maybe we could call him and see, like...
Come on, Emily. This is children's show level acting. Please spare us. I don't think Blue's Clues needs a new host.
Hey, this is Emily from Ideation.
Hey, Emily, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Cool. Well, I'm here with Soggy. I wanted to ask you, I have a question to ask you about Dawson, but I want to make sure you're comfortable being recorded first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Folks, he knew who Soggy is and was instantly on board with being recorded without any further mention of context whatsoever. The guy knew what was going to be asked. This is sickening. A lady involved with giving Soggy this claim back in October is calling a guy who knows who Soggy is to pretend to confirm a claim they both know Soggy's already received, published, and gotten upset about being called a liar over, while pretending it is in any way spontaneous. And after getting what he wants, and knew he'd get, Soggy gloats about finally owning Dogpack, putting on screen a message that means this interview section should result in him having to make a $1,000 donation.
To have any other
Yeah.
interaction with him after that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm really sorry to hear that.
Is this investigation so petty at times, as Soggy described the result of it himself to me, that a major motivation of this pretend piece of journalism was to make Dogpack lose a bet by totally faking an interview segment where the interviewees are fully in on it? Certainly looked like that to me, but how bad is this? The first thing to consider is, when did Soggy know this was happening? According to him... I'm sorry. According to him, he didn't know until after the interviews. I say to him, you told me that you didn't originally know the identities of the Beast employees whose claims you were given, as in back in early October, but that you are now aware they are the same people you interviewed in real life. When did you learn this? He responded, I prodded some of them about this after their interview, when noticing the similarities of the claims. Some of the claims might not have been made exclusively by them, since e.g. Dogpack disrespecting his manager was also brought up in the leaked firing interview. Our boy thought he was Sherlock Holmes. Wow, I'm such a great investigator. All these claims in this hard-hitting interview line up perfectly with all the claims I've already received from unnamed employees. Look at all this corroboration. Okay, maybe I'm being too harsh. He did figure it out. He did ask them, wait, your claims are very similar to claims I've received in the past. Was that you? Were you part of that group whose claims were sent to me? And apparently they admitted that to him. I asked him, hey, when did that happen? And he told me it happened the very same day the interviews were conducted. Immediately after, in fact, in person. Which was when exactly? He tells me the interviews happened on November 1st. Also known as, the same day the Quinn Emanuel investigation concluded. So for 15 days, from November 1st to when he published his video on November 16th, he had this knowledge. He knew that those interviews were not what he had initially thought they were. That they were exactly what he told us as recently as Friday the 22nd of November he was trying to avoid happening by flying out there to make sure they weren't just giving him preloaded answers to things he was likely to ask. But the reality is even worse, as they were giving him answers they had already given him before, and then 15 days later pretended to us that these were, as he said, raw, transparent interviews conducted with integrity. I still find myself in disbelief that Soggy, knowing all that, sifted through those interviews and included this clip in his video.
I heard that he told the chef that his food was trash.
I heard that story too, yeah.
When he published that, he had known for 15 days that she was one of the people involved in bringing him that information all the way back in October. He knew this was acting. He knew that when he said in that clip, yeah, I heard that too, he had heard it from a group she was part of, and then included it in his video as if there was no further information we should have. If Soggy is capable of doing this accidentally, then Soggy also belongs in a care home because he probably has dementia. But why would Soggy pretend all of this was spontaneous when he knew these were people repeating things they'd already sent to him?
Maybe I'm gonna get some more answers at the MrBeast company.
Utterly shameless. And may I add, he doesn't even know the extent to which this was happening. He didn't dig further. And you might think, well, we can check. We can cross-reference the claims in his slop video with what showed up in his new video. But as Soggy has stated publicly and in DMs to me, his slop video didn't contain much of the proof he'd seen.
Because I didn't want to use any real ammunition yet. I wanted to keep that for this video.
So we have no way of knowing just how much of a setup those interviews were. Okay, so back to why he wouldn't let us know the full situation. Did he just not understand that the public should know that at least in part, those interviews were faked and scripted with planned answers, designed to look spontaneous when they weren't? I don't just mean the employees sort of knew what they were going to say. They knew exactly what they were going to repeat and pretend it wasn't them just repeating it to him. Soggy figured that out. Did he just think, no need to tell anyone? Could it be that his desire to get revenge on Dogpack was so strong he overlooked it? Or could there be a much more serious answer? You see, there was one part of those interviews that really touched Soggy's heart.
We're doing a video where we're trying to help people walk again.
Yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
Actively, partners have pulled out because of these videos. There are people who will not walk or will have to delay in them walking because of the videos that Dogpack made.
That really sucks. I can understand being upset to hear that, and Soggy was very upset to hear that.
That's kind of everything I had on my mind to talk about. Is there anything you want to say or add to all this?
Start a movement to make people want to sue Dogpack. That's at this point what I'm feeling. That's really, like, I genuinely believe that he should be sued to smithereens, you know? Dude, when I had that interview with Hoodie, like the manager, which I have a 1 hour and a half interview with Hoodie, the manager of Dawson, and he talks in like a specific part, he talks about the videos of Dawson hurting the philanthropy channel. And once I heard that, like, I was boiling. I was fucking boiling inside when I heard that, like, what Dawson is doing, a disgruntled employee, is hurting philanthropy. It's making it so that less people would get, like, prosthetics to walk again.
15 days since hearing that, of stewing in boiling rage before he uploaded his video. 2 weeks of thinking about and editing a video with the intent of seeing a movement started to make people want to sue Dogpack. For half a month, with all this hate in his heart, he finished sculpting his video. And while Dogpack is a loathsome creature who has done much wrong, and while the characterization of him as a disgruntled ex-employee is undoubtedly accurate, there is an angle that has been overlooked. Well, I say overlooked, but it's more like it's been literally edited out of consideration in this conversation. Soggy plays this clip a couple times in his video.
You're saying the things that you're saying are truly in good faith, and that you're not a disgruntled employee.
You can watch my video and like view it through the lens of...
Dogpack carries on to say, oh, evidence stands on its own, whatever. What I'm getting at, though, is what was actually said to Dogpack there. Because it wasn't that.
What you're saying, the things that you're saying are truly in good faith, and that you're not a disgruntled employee. If you are rightfully so disgruntled employee.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch my video and like...
Could he be disgruntled, but rightfully so? Not that that would excuse the insane stuff like the CP claims, or anything false he spread, either negligently or deliberately. No, of course not. But what I'm getting at is, what if this whole thing is just a massive retard fight that spiraled out of control? And while Dogpack has his pawns, so too do the MrBeast employees. We know, from the start, Hoodie, Dogpack's manager for a time, did not want him.
Why did you hire him?
I didn't hire that guy.
Oh,
no, I inherited that man.
Oh, okay, you didn't. Okay, how did that come to be then?
You want to know? So the real thing that actually happened was he applied to Beast while I was still the creative manager. He applied to Beast twice, and I saw his interview and went, interesting. He's got an analytical brain.
Yeah.
That's not creative. Like, what he's talking about just won't fit what we're trying to do with our videos. So I turned him down the first time.
Okay.
Then he applies the second time a couple months later.
To ideation, I guess.
Still the creative.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, nah, this guy's still, like, he's got, like, an interesting mind, but I don't know. I think he'd probably fit somewhere else in, like, a different department or a different channel. Who knows? He's clearly smart, but nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. He doesn't want to be around that guy, right?
I don't know what happened. A void opened up, something random happened. He spawned in on the channel, just randomly in ideation. I got summoned into a room and got told by our leaders, they're like, hey, there's a gap in ideation and thumbnail. I need somebody to go in there and help. Can you be that guy? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go in.
Okay.
And I went in, and that's the first time I met Dawson.
Oof, bad luck. I think it's undeniable that that's a setup for a bad time. The guy you said, nah, keep him away from me twice to, ends up under you somehow. And he's a bit of a weirdo. No wonder they clashed. And while we understand that Dogpack, of course, is holding a grudge, I haven't seen that much talk about Hoodie's possible grudge. You know, Hoodie, the guy who Soggy first reached out to back in August. Hoodie later provided claims to Soggy anonymously via a representative, and then was interviewed in person, after which Soggy realized he was talking to someone he'd already gotten anonymous claims from. Now Hoodie, if you remember specifically as well, is the guy who told Soggy that Dogpack was hurting Beast's philanthropic efforts. The info that made Soggy want to see Dogpack sued, wanted any harm to come to him that could from this video.
He's just awful. He's just an awful person, and he deserves every consequence that could come from whatever my video does, you know.
Now, prior to that real-life interview, Soggy had not spoken to Hoodie directly and knowingly. He had only received some claims that originated from Hoodie anonymously, via that representative that was mentioned. However, we do know that they were speaking after that interview, after Soggy had already decided Dogpack needs to be sued, as a result, in fact, of what Hoodie had said in that interview. It is shown very briefly in Soggy's Truth About video that they have DM'd on Twitter. Do you want to know what else happened after the interview? Soggy was given access to a folder containing a recording of Dogpack being fired. The email informing him of this is dated Saturday 9th November, 8 days following the interviews. Soggy then also shows us the contents of that folder and confirms that all of those contents are from the same person. Aside from that leaked recording, there is raw files, who knows what's in there.
He applied to Beast twice, and I saw his interview and went,
But also, first application,
So I turned him down the first time.
and second application.
Then he applies a second time a couple months later.
To ideation, I guess.
Still the creative.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, nah.
Not much info is given about the recording of Dogpack being fired. Is that standard company practice or something? I don't know. But what is interesting is it was leaked by the same person who leaked those interviews. And there is a little bit we know about that firing. Hoodie, the guy who never wanted Dogpack at the company to begin with, was a significant factor in this, as you'd expect as his manager. It's not exactly shocking.
Can I please have a second chance?
It's not.
If I'm getting paid, just let me come in and let me try to be coachable. If Hoodie changes his mind, can I?
Another detail we know is that Hoodie was present for this recording. Again, okay, sure.
Spies. Coincidentally, all three of those people were in the room when Dogpack was fired.
Now we get something interesting though. Soggy proves this by playing voice clips.
I'm our COO.
Car, we are still going to reimburse you.
This is the original contract and the original NDA.
Which of those voices sounds closest to the recording device? Yeah, nice one. Looks like following riling up Soggy into a frothing rage. About a week later, Hoodie decided to poke him a bit more. Hey, investigator hero man, come to save us. I have a few more juicy secrets for you. You're gonna own Dogpack back so hard when he looks like a little bitch crying for his job? You know, so they can make sure that video is gonna definitely be what the MrBeast staff need it to be. And what Jimmy needs it to be too, let's be honest. And of course, what it was. There's a reason MrBeast was sharing it with people and promoting it so much. If he didn't know what was going on at any point before its release, which, okay, I've got a bridge to sell you. He certainly knows now, and has still given it the thumbs up. So yeah, what I see here is a grudge match between two teams of freaks. If the MrBeast employee side ever was innocent, they ain't now. And I think it's clear that while Dogpack has done many things that would obviously upset people who work there, they were already enemies before he left, perhaps even before he was even hired. Me, personally, if I catch a whiff of any people under me doing this kind of thing, I'd want them all gone. Do not be pulling any of this stuff as representatives of my company or companies. MrBeast, Jimmy, he gives this sort of behavior the thumbs up. Great video. Alright man, up to you. Lean into the cloak and dagger proxy tard fight all you want. Not my problem. And I'm pretty bored of it at this point. I just had to wait to talk about what I originally wanted to talk about to begin with. Those interviews, fake as hell. Soggy figured it out, and then chose not to tell you. Hope you've enjoyed these few vids. I don't normally do this much coverage of a single thing, and I'll see you next time. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.